we are a post-harvest agri management company. And when I say that within these 5 words of post-harvest agri management company, we do everything right from aggregation at a farm level to finally putting that plate full of food on your table. Except we don't process anything and neither do we trade anything. We are present across India. We are present across different crops and we are present across every generation of crop handler. And with this, I would like to bring to you that how are we present and why we are present is that unlike any other warehouse service provider, this company had always told a line of scientific management of goods. We never believed, and we still don't believe that assets or the warehouses or the godowns that you would like to keep, say, are the major problems in this country. No. I think the major problem in this country is the management of those godowns. And for management of those godowns, just like you've seen Airbnb and you've seen oil rooms and you've seen so on and so forth, the management of godowns itself is a scientific process which can be tackled using a technological backend rather than a physical backend. And that's what SLCM did in the last 10 years. We made a technological gateway, a technological neural fiber in the system, which we proudly call as AgriReach, which we also put it for patent. And what does AgriReach do for us, sir? Is an artificial intelligent imaging system in place, which allows us to manage any commodity in any geography, under any weather condition, under any sort of infrastructure. And yet, while doing so, reduce post-harvest losses, which are attuned to about 10% as per Government of India's own figures, while goods are kept in warehouses. So our customer is anybody who's in the agri fraternity, sir. Right from the small farmer to the biggest consumer. It could be an FMCG company, it could be a company which is consuming sugar, it could be a company which is consuming wheat and converting that wheat into wheat flour. We are across the value chain. We work for governments, we work for governments, we work for Bihar government, we work for other such government, we work for governments, we work for FMCG companies, we work for processors, we work for traders, arthias, farmers, financial institutions like banks, because banks go ahead and actually use warehouse financing as a tool to finance the agri environment. So we work for them as well. So we are across the chain. So luckily for us, or rather I would say, destiny and God has been kind. The very fact that we have built a neural platform, a technologically enabled platform, right before the COVID pandemic. So we've been doing it for 9 years. So our operations could be managed from home, as you would put it. But obviously, ultimately, it's a touch and feel business to some degree, wherein some goods are physically accommodated at a warehouse in some district. So automatically, the availability of manpower, the availability of trucks, the availability of laborers, these have been a little bit of ingredients at the larger flow of goods. But if you talk about management in terms of quality, you talk about management in terms of awareness that the goods are there or not, awareness of the management information systems, we've not been met. And even during this pandemic, most of agri-related services were classified as essential services, and they were allowed to be continued, except the fact is that only those companies could continue this, which had this neural network on the background. From a storage point of view, I would say no. From a storage point of view, no, it hasn't happened because the fact of the matter is that if goods have been produced by somebody, they need to be stored somewhere. So from a storage point of view, no, but from a trade flow perspective, from a finance flow, yes, it has. Why? Because these markets, whether APMC or otherwise, are the discovery points of value at risk. So if there is no trading happening either in the APMC market or at any other market, as a service provider, I do not know the value of the commodity that I am carrying. Obviously, there's no real-time discovery of the value of the commodity. That's one important point. I think the second important point is that when the trade flow is happening and then goods are exchanging hands between, let's say, a farmer to an artisan and an artisan to a trader, the gambit of our services required become bigger. Why? Because there would be transportation required in between, there would be different points of assaying required in between, there would be different points of people tend to get finance out of that crop would happen. So because those transactions have kind of I would say they have not exactly expanded because they're contracted to some degree. Obviously, that work also gets contracted. There is a contraction happening in the economy on that work. But from a storage perspective, I don't think we've been hampered that way. First answer I would say is yes, we have, but not in the fashion of facilitating a sale of trade or a sale of commodity, more in the fashion of empowering that gentleman on the ground to get finances against his goods. Now, those financing of those goods could have happened through the fact that goods came into our warehouse and there were banks which financed it so that there were cash flows available to these gentlemen. Or on the other end, goods flew to the warehouse and some NBFCs or financial institutions financed it. So that gave them the immediate relief of being not cash strapped and not getting into a trap of I don't know where to keep my goods or how to how to get liquidity against my goods. Coming to the second phase of problem, that whether they want to sell the goods or not, yes, there are a lot of platforms which are emerging which say that yes, we will get this auction and not auction. I think the bigger question, sir, is that it's not about auctioning or connecting a buyer or seller. I think it's about providing an integrated platform. It will be, I would be, the answer to this would be a dismal in terms of in number of percentages points. I would say less than 1%. But there are people who digitize part of it. But there is none that I can see that digitize the entire platform. And that, what I believe is, that is what this country requires as we go forward, because this country is a very easy, we are the second most populous country in the world. We have one of the largest areas under coverage in square kilometers in the world. We have the most diverse atmosphere in the world. We have Cherrapunji, which has the largest rainfall density. We have a most dry arid region in Rajasthan. Right? We have a diversity of crops. And yet we have a concentration of crops. When I say concentration of crops, is because I just have Rabi and Kharif as two cropping seasons, which is going to provide me crops over 4 months of calendar time to be consumed over 12 months of the entire calendar year. I have 16% of my GDP, but I have 50% of employment force on agri. So the problem in front is enormous. The problem is enormous and the solution is very elegant. It's a very, very elegant solution of digitizing this, but it requires a lot of IPR, sir. It is not about a computer whiz kid coming and saying, hey, I will implement this. It requires a detailed knowledge of agri-environment of India. It requires a detailed knowledge of agri-chemistry of India. Because the fact of the matter is that Indian farmland is fragmented and each farm is producing a different variety of goods. Even in wheat, there are substandard and other standard quality of wheats. Now, not all quality of wheats can be stored together. They need to be stored differently to preserve their value. Same is the case with rice and paddy and so on and so forth. So what I'm saying is the solution has to be catered to India. There's no one-cut copy-paste model. There are a lot of people coming and advocating that let's follow the US model, talk about building silos, talk about building some other types of technologies. The fact of the matter is that the basic factor for a silo to succeed is the entire supply chain management to be mapped to a silo container station. You cannot have bagged commodities being brought to a silos, getting unbagged, put into a silos, and then while being transported again bagged and getting transported. You need to have open rail carts coming directly to silos, feeding it on a hopper stock stacker method, and that's it. But that's not that network in India is not there.